Welcome to Understanding Our Times, and I am John Bennett, the T-shirt philosopher. This is episode 2 of my experimental phase, which I'm publishing nonetheless, even though I don't have it quite together yet. But here we go with another crooked furrow. Hopefully I'll have a stand soon, and I won't have to jiggle this phone around as I go. I had one friend tell me I should take the Bob Ross approach and find a happy little cloud over in the corner to talk about. And that might be good advice. Well, in the first episode, we talked about ages and how worldviews determine an age. So an age is determined by a worldview, and a worldview is determined by specific ideas that make up the worldview, which is really interesting when we get into it, to show how these ideas show up all over the culture, everywhere. It's really interesting, and it's how you understand your worldview and how you know you're in a particular worldview, because there are very specific dominant ideas that show up everywhere. Now, where do those ideas come from? I'd like to read from you just a little passage from A.W. Tozer, Knowledge of the Holy. See if I can get it in there. Wait a minute. Knowledge of the Holy. Of course, it's backwards. Anyway, if you've not read Tozer, you should. The Pursuit of God, anything but Tozer. He's a saint and a marvelous writer, and you will never be sorry for reading Tozer. Sorry for the movement. Here we go. But I thought this was a good place to start in trying to understand worldviews and the ideas behind them. Very first chapter, why we must think rightly about God. What comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. And that's true for a culture, not just individually. The history of mankind will probably show that no people has ever risen above its religion. And man's spiritual history will positively demonstrate that no religion has ever been greater than its idea of God. Worship is pure or base as the worshiper entertains high or low thoughts of God. For this reason, the gravest question before the church is always God himself. And the most portentous fact about any man is not what he at a given time may say or do, but what he in his deep heart conceives God to be like. We tend by a secret law of the soul to move towards our mental image of God. This is true not only of the individual Christian, but of the company of Christians that composes the church. Always the most revealing thing about the church is her idea about God. So, to finish that sentence, just as her most significant message is what she says about him or leaves unsaid, for her silence is often more eloquent than her speech. She can never escape the self-disclosure of her witness concerning God. Now, that is true about an individual, that is true about a church, and that is true about a nation, the society. It's true about every individual, even those who claim that they're atheists or think that they're atheists. You know who I'm talking about. No, I'm just sharing this with a few special friends and family at this point. And so that's something I will be talking about. Ages are defined by worldviews. Worldviews are defined by a set of specific ideas. And those specific ideas come from an understanding of God. And just what is a divinity idea, we will get into it in more detail, but briefly, everybody believes in something that is uncreated. It's just there. It's uncreated and the cause of everything else. And for some it may be space or time or matter or energy. The Pythagoreans thought it was number. They even prayed to number. Some thought it was logic. But everybody believes in an uncaused cause and something that just is and is the cause of everything else. And what you put in that slot will determine your worldview. And as we go forth, remember, there are individual worldviews and there are worldviews for the entire culture. Thank you very much. Now I do see a happy little cloud coming up over in the distance, so I've got to go. Later.